Welcome back, McFly subscribers. So we recently had a chicken die. She was actually the kids' favorite. I mean, they're kind of pets. So I ended up plucking a couple of her feathers, quite a few actually, before, so that way I could utilize her feathers. She had really pretty mottled feathers, you can see here. So quite a few different kinds. Kind of separate them by type. Got some longer ones as well from her, and some larger ones, and I even kept some of the longer tail feathers and stuff. So over the next couple weeks, I'm going to be tying some flies with her feathers. I'm going to start with something called a Partridge and Orange. I figure it's a classy pattern that I could kind of honor her with a nice, clean, classy pattern. And since her feathers she has some of these that almost look like partridge. So the hook I'm using today is going to be these Risen's Barbless Nymph 9231 in size 14. Thread, because it's the only orange thread that I've got, that is, this color orange. I've got some hot orange, but I'm just going to use this UTC 70. I think it'll work. And then, of course, that feather. So let's get to tying. All right, so we're going to start by putting the hook in the vise. So then we're going to start the thread with about a hook eye gap from the eye of the hook. I'm going to bring it down. You can snip or snap off the thread. And right now it's a little bit flat. I'm going to flatten it even more. And I'm going to bring this down with even of a wrap as possible. Come all the way down, and then I'm going to come back up with the flat thread. Continue spinning counterclockwise to flatten it more. Here we go. And then we're going to go down once more. I really want to make a nice thick base. Generally these are tied with a floss rather than thread to give it a nice, even, and thicker base, I believe. I haven't really tied these too much, but then I want to do a ribbing, so I'm gonna spin this clockwise now to really cord this up, and we're just gonna make wraps up, corded. It's not going to do a whole lot, but it'll look like a ribbing a little bit. Alright, and we're going to keep it corded now for the feather. So here's the feather. You can see it has a nice mottled look. It almost has a partridge look to it. I'm going to strip off the fuzzies at the bottom here, and where that stem is a little bit too thick to wrap. I'm going to take some hackle pliers here and just grab the tip. And then we can stroke these fibers rearward. We don't need a lot. There we go. I'm going to put it down on an angle, angle down, and we will wrap this right like so with two wraps. We'll pull this section up, wrap in front, like so, wrap right behind it, and then we can come in with some really fine point scissors and cut all that off. Alright, so now the thread has flattened again because it's been spinning, so we're just gonna make a few wraps to really lock that in. Then I got these hackle pliers, the same type, but they've got like a rubber thing to it. And grab it. I'm gonna stroke all the fibers rearward. And actually, I think this might be too much, so I'm gonna, while I'm here, pull some of those fibers off. We don't want too much. And then we'll stroke those fibers rearward and start wrapping. Now, unfortunately, it's not quite like a partridge where it's going to want to kind of pull forward on you a little bit. The fibers aren't as stiff, so they're softer, so it will act a little different. All right, so once we wind on, we capture it with a one wrap. We can let go, make another wrap behind it, and then a couple in front. Some fine point scissors. By the way, these are Risen's mitten scissor, and boy, I love them. They're a super fine tip. You can see how tight I cut that off. It's almost not there. Really helps with these smaller flies. So this thread must have frayed it a little bit. We'll fix that. All right, so now we're just going to form a little head. And a normal partridge, the fibers are going to stick straight up more rather than back, but this will work. So these look kind of almost like a spider, I think. That's what they're going for. So once we make a little head on it and cover up any of the stuff with thread wraps, then we're just going to whip finish, cut it off close, and now we need to varnish the head. So right there I use Solares Ultra Thin. Comes with a little handy paintbrush. It works perfectly for this, and then you just cure it with your UV light. Like so. And that's all it takes. And now that's cured, that's nice and hard. That'll hold the whip finish, plus it gives it a nice glossy look on the front. I think it makes it look nice. And there we go. The fly is finished. Is it exactly like a Partridge and Orange? No. But it's, close enough. Will it fish? Probably. Although I'm not going to fish it. So generally I think these are tied on slightly shorter hooks, but I kind of like the longer hook, especially since this fiber is a little bit longer on a smaller feather than Partridge. Partridge has really short, kind of more stubby and stiff fibers than this. This is going to flow a little more. It's going to work. And it's kind of exactly what I'm looking for. So if you haven't already, please check out my sponsor, Fly. They're the ones that made the scissors and of course the hooks, and they make rods and reels and a whole bunch of great stuff for fly fishing, and at excellent prices for the quality. I mean, they're some of the best rods and reels I've used, and the hooks are awesome, super sharp, really strong, especially these barbless hooks. Their barbless series is amazing, but they make excellent stuff at really reasonable, if not incredibly great prices, I think. Best off, they're actually offering all of you a discount, so type in McFly at checkout for 15% off of your first order with them, and that'll even drop their prices even lower. So next week, I believe I'm going to try to tie something a little flashier, because honestly, she was a very flashy chicken. She was very loud, really obnoxious, actually. My kids loved her just because she was very vocal, so she was kind of flashy. So I want to tie something a little more flashy to kind of more of her style of what she was. So I think next week I might do, I don't know, I'm going to figure something out. I think I want to do some kind of an attractor pattern, maybe a nymph. Stay tuned for next week's and what I tie with her feathers. But anyway, if you guys like this kind of content, please subscribe and hit that bell notification for future video updates. Also, if you could hit the like button, it would really help me and the channel out. I will see you on the next video. Now you go catch some fish.